Hello guys, welcome to Help for Code e-learning. My name is Prashant Jha and today we are creating a session on Java question and answer. So today I will ask a question as an interviewer and Mr. Ashish will give an answer as a candidate. So the main reason behind of creating this video is basically we want to provide experience to those candidates who are preparing for a Java. Okay, so let's start the question. So basically what is the difference between JDK, JRE and JVM?
JDK, JRE, JVM. So JDK means Java Development Kit and JRE means Java Runtime Environment. JVM means Java Virtual Machine. So JDK contains the Java compiler and execution part. So JDK is used for the developer because developer have to compile the code, have to rectify the errors and then execute that program, means run that program. And if we talk about the JRE, so JRE contain only executable part. So like if we talk about the developer and customer part, so when we want to, suppose we have created any application, so we have to run that code and we have to compile that code, so that JDK is for the developer. But in customer side, we like suppose we have developed application, so why we say to the customer to run my code and to find the errors and all, so that's why we need only a JRE. So when we install a JDK, so JRE will be installed. Okay, of course JRE and JDK is available, so only we can install JRE as well in the client system. So conclusion is what? JDK is for the developers and JRE is for the customer. Now we talk about the JVM. So what is JVM? JVM stands for the Java Virtual Machine. So virtual machine is what? So whenever any operating system is installed, like Windows operating system, Linux operating system and Mac operating system, so their virtual machine is also installed. So when we install Java software, so it creates the virtual machine. Means when we install Java in Windows operating system, so it will create a JVM for the Windows. When we install Java software into the Linux, so it will create the virtual machine for the Linux, means we can say the JVM for the Linux. So similarly with the Mac system, so JVM is responsible to execute and do all the Java code there. So when we compile any code, so that Java byte code will be created, and then with the help of the class loader subsystem, this byte code will be loaded into the JVM, then our code will be executed.
What is a public static void main?
In public static void main, public means direct access to the JVM, static means direct access to the JVM but without object creation, and we are using void means function will not return anything, means main function will not return anything, and we are using the main function. So main function is the callable environment to the Java programs, means by using main function we can call the user defined and predefined methods, and as an argument type we are using a string array. So string array is used to accept the any number, any type of or any number of arguments.
Why we can say that Java is a platform independent?
Java is platform independent language because Java, when we compile the Java code, so it generates the byte code. I mean dot class file is created. So dot class file means your byte code. So this byte code is responsible to run on every JVM. So whatever systems are there, they are having a JVM. So that byte code we can do the copy paste from one system to other systems, and we can run that code. So this byte code is responsible to for the platform independency.
Is it really Java is a pure object oriented?
Let's see, actually Java is not considered as a pure object oriented programming language because several features like operator overloading, multiple inheritance is not supported by the Java. But if we are comparing with the Java itself, so we can say that Java is pure object oriented. But if we are comparing the language like C++, so we cannot say that Java is pure object oriented programming language in Java.
What is the difference between heap and stack memory?
Generally heap memory is created when object is created. So in case of heap memory, when we create the object, so all methods and instance variables get memory inside a heap. And if you talk about the stack memory, so generally local variables and the variable which is declared inside a method, so that memory is declared inside a stack. So whatever we are declaring, suppose variables, we are declaring the methods, so that are stored into the stack, and when we call that method, so that will be pop from the stack, and when the stack memory is empty, so then JVM compiler knows that we don't have any work. Okay, so this is the main heap memory and stack memory, and generally the heap memory contain the instance data, means like object type data we can say.
What is the difference between equal function, that means equal method, and equal to?
In Java, equals method is meant for the content comparison, and equal to is meant for the address comparison. Means like when we are using the equal to, so means we are comparing the addresses here. And equals method is already having means equal method is a part of the object class, and is also available in string class as well. So this is used for the content comparison.
Why pointers are not used in Java?
Actually, pointers are create the confusions in Java. Java is internally implemented C with pointer, but not for user. So whatever confusable points are there in Java, so that is not included in Java. Like for example, operator overloading, multiple inheritance. Similarly with the pointer. So like for example, suppose I am having a variable and suppose it is using a pointer. So if third person is knowing address of that variable, so of course the value can be accessed. But for users it is not allowed. So that's why it provides the like security. So same like Java is considered as the robust language, so it provides the safeguards to the Java programs.
What is a JIT compiler? Why we use in Java? Is it special reason to use a JIT compiler?
Actually, JIT compiler is the part of the Java runtime environment, and it's used the fastest performance to the JVM. Okay, so when so it is generally used for to convert the bytecode into the native code. That is JIT compiler, just-in-time compiler it is.
What is the difference between local and instance variable? With example.
Instance variable means when object is created, so all the class variable is known as the instance variable. Okay, and if we talk about the local variables, so the variables which is declared inside a method, so that is known as your local variables. And when we create the object, so when object memory is created, so that memory is known as the instance memory. So whatever memory is allocated to the that class level variables, and which memory will be get memory inside a heap memory, so that is your instance variables.
How to declare a constant in Java?
In Java, there is no const keyword. Actually, in C++ there is a const keyword to declare the constant, but in Java has also const keyword, but it is not implemented. So we are using in Java that is a final keyword. So final keyword is used for the restriction, it provides the restriction. So by using final keyword, we can create the constant in Java. Like final int a equal to 10. So a is constant variable.
Can we declare a class, method, and variable as a constant?
Yes, we can declare class, method and variable as a constant by using a final keyword. But if we declare any class as a final, means we cannot inherit it. Okay, means inheritance is restricted there. And if we can declare any method as a final as well, but if a method as a final, we cannot override it. And if any variable is a constant, means we cannot change the value, means it is constant variables.
What is the difference between break and continue statement, and where we can use it?
The break and continue statement are the part of the transfer statement in Java, and the break is used, break and continue we both can use in a conditional statement, that is if and loops we can use. So generally, for example, suppose I want to print from 1 to 10, and my for loop is starting from this 1 to 10 and then I plus plus suppose, and I am using that if I equals to 5, and I am using break there. My if I value will be the 5, so it will be break. So what will be the output? 1 2 3 4 will be executed. When I becomes the 5, so it won't be executed, means rest of the code will not be executed. Means by using a break, it will be break the code and complete break from the loop and exit from the loop. Okay, but if we use continue statement like instead of the break statement, so what it will do, when my condition will be continue till I equals to 4, then 1 2 3 4 will be printed, and when I equals to 5, so it will be continue. So means particular code will be the skipped, and it will continue my loop again. So the output will be what? Then 1 2 3 4 5 will be skipped, then 6 7 8 9 10, this is the outputs. So generally continue statement skip the particular condition and continues the loop, and break the, it will not allow to execute, it will be exit from the loop directly.
Define a class loader system.
Class loader is the part of the Java runtime environment, and class loader is of three types: bootstrap class loader, extension class loader, and system class loader. So generally when we compile the Java code, so we generate the .class file, and then .class file is loaded into the JVM by using a class loader. So we have a method, that is class.forName method. So when class.forName method we write, so inside a forName method, that .class file is loaded and it will use the instance of the class, okay, and then that class instance is responsible to execute that class and all the bytecode. So this is the main use of the class loader.
What is the method overloading and method overriding with example?
Actually, method overloading and method overriding is the part of the polymorphism. So there are two types of polymorphism in Java: runtime polymorphism and compile time polymorphism. So compile time polymorphism example is method overloading, and runtime polymorphism example is method overriding. So overloading means to add something extra, like assigning additional tasks to a method is called as method overloading. And in case of method overloading, the method name is same but different arguments, so is within a class. So we can say that this is a method overloading. And in method overriding, the method name is same number of parameters, and but in different class, and that classes should have the parent-child relationship. So we can say that this is a method overriding.
What are the key difference between C++ and Java?
There are various differences between the C++ and Java. Like if we talk about the multiple inheritance, C++ support the multiple inheritance, but Java does not support the multiple inheritance. C++ support the operator overloading, Java does not support the operator loading. C++ has a scope resolution operator, Java does not have scope resolution operator. C++ resolving the issues of the ambiguity, but Java does not resolving the ambiguity. And if we talk about the in case of C++, there we can run a program without class as well, but in Java everything written in the class, because Java is purely related to object only. Okay, I mean we can say that everything is Java in object. No namespaces are available in Java, but C++ has the namespaces features. And in C++ we cannot create the packages, but in Java we can create the packages, and we can use that packages in Java. But in C++ we have to, if we want to reuse that code, like we want to achieve the abstraction, then we can achieve this by header files, we can say. So we have to create the header files.
Okay, so the name is very similar: final, finally, and finalize. So what is the difference between final, finally, and finalize?
We can use final keyword with the variable. So if any variable declared as a final, so it means it is a constant, we cannot change the values. And if we use final keyword with the class, so it cannot be inherited. And if we use this final keyword with the method, so it cannot be override. Okay, and if we talk about the finally, so finally is the part of the exception handling, and we use finally block like when we want to write some certain line that must be executed. Okay, like suppose I want to close the file, I want to close the database connection, I want to write the resource releasing logic, so we use the finally block. And finalize method is the part of the garbage collector, so it is called when before the garbage collector is called.
Explain a typecasting in Java.
Typecasting means when we want to convert a data type into another data type, so it's called as the typecasting. And Java is known as strongly typed language. Each and every level of Java, it compares and it checks the data types. Okay, so there are two types of typecasting: implicit typecasting and explicit typecasting. So implicit typecasting is done by the compiler itself. Like suppose we are not studying about the typecasting, so till typecasting, whatever topic we learned, whatever code we did, so that is all under the implicit typecasting. So in implicit typecasting, the lower range data type is converted into the higher range data type. Okay, means we can store lower range data into the higher range data. But if we talk about the explicit typecasting, so in explicit typecasting, the higher range data is converted into the lower range data. Okay, means forcefully conversion, we can say that that is explicit typecasting. Like in implicit typecasting, we can convert the character into the integer into the long into the float into the double we can. Then in explicit typecasting, what we can do, the double type of data we want to convert into the float type of data we want to convert the long type of data we want to convert the integer. So that forceful typecasting is called as your explicit typecasting. Okay, one more thing is very important here, like if data types are same, so it return the same result. Like suppose my first variable is int type and second variable is also int type, so it will return only int only. But if any if any data type is higher, so it always return the higher range data. Like suppose my first variable is integer and second variable is long, so of course result will be in the long. Suppose my first variable is float and second variable is a double type, so it will return the double type.
What is the default value of local variable and static variable?
The default value of local variable, so local variable has not any default value. It is created automatically inside a method and destroyed automatically. And if you talk about the static, so of course default value is 0.
Define a data types.
Data type tells what type of value held by the variable. It can be integer, float, double, any type. So generally we have 8 number of data types, like byte, short, int, long, then float, double, char and boolean. So in Java we are having some default data types, like from integer group it support the int only, and from floating group it support the double only. Means when any value is coming from the user, means unknown value is coming is the part of the integer only, so it will be in the form of the integer. So internal memory will be allocated as type of the integer only. And if any floating type of value, any fraction type of value is coming from the user, like 3.14 value is coming, so it will be enter as a double type of data. So only double type of memory will be allocated, means 8 byte will be allocated. So in Java we have a char data type, so char is having a 2 byte size, then byte is having a 1 byte data size, then we have int, then we have short data type, so short is having a 2 byte size, then we have a int data type, so int is having a 4 byte, then long is having a 8 byte, then we have a float, so of course like C++, float is having a 4 byte memory, and double needs 8 byte of memory.
Define an exception handling concept in Java.
Exception handling is the part of the runtime error. Actually in Java we are having two types of error. First one is compile time error and second one is runtime error. So compile time error can be easily rectified, because we know that suppose we have a compile time error, so we cannot run that program. But if we have a runtime error, so that will become at a runtime, so of course that may create a serious issue, that may disturb our normal flow of the execution of our program. So that runtime errors are nothing but your exceptions. Like for example, I am having an error like 0 divided by error, I am having an array index out of bound exception. Suppose if we are adding any file, so that file not found exception, class not found exception. So these are the runtime errors. So that runtime errors are nothing but your exception in Java. So to handle that runtime exception is called as exception handling. So in exception handling, the topmost class is throwable, and then apart from that, like they are having some child classes, that is error and exception classes. So in exception handling also we have a checked exception and unchecked exception. So what is meant by checked exception? The checked exception are those exceptions which are checked by the compiler and at a compile time, and the unchecked exception means what? That are the runtime exceptions. Means okay. So the compiler is not checking in that exception, that is your unchecked exceptions. Okay, and we are using the try catch block. So try block is generally used to handle that exception. Like suppose we know that for this line number 30 or 40 we are having we may be having some runtime error, so we have to write this line inside the try block only, and then after that we have to mention the catch block. So whatever exceptions are there, so it raises that exception and it throws that exception. So there should be a catch block. So this catch block will catch the exception, that handle that exception, and we can write the appropriate logic there. Okay, so we can say that it means like exception we are using instead of the developer, on behalf of the developer, my application should be talked to the user. So then we should go with the exception handling. Okay, means like suppose we are having some runtime errors. Okay, so and that time developer is not responsible to available to give add all the answers. So our exception should be there. So instead of behalf of the developer, my program should be talked to the user. And then we are having a final block as well. So we are using try catch and finally. So final block we are using when we want some line of code must be executed, right? Resource resume logic, like some file want to close, because when any exception is raised, so exception is your runtime error, and error means error, so of course it will disturb our program, it will not allow to execute rest of the application. But in our application, suppose if any file is opened and if it is not closed, so of course that file may corrupt. So of course that logic we should write inside the final block. So we have to write that type of logic in final block. So we are using try, catch, and finally.
Okay, so tell me, what are the default data types in Java?
Java has two groups. First integer group and second one is floating group. So in integer group we are having a byte, short, and int and long. So integer group by default support the int data type, and from floating group we are having two data types like float and double. So by default it support the double data type, means the unknown value is coming as the type of integer like 100, 200, 99. So it allocates the memory as integer type only, and if any value is coming fractional type like 3.14 like coming, okay, so it allocates the memory as a double type only.
Okay, Ashish, so in C and C++, as we know that char data type takes only 1 byte memory. So why in Java it takes a 2 byte memory? What's the reason exactly behind of that?
Actually in C++ we are using the ASCII system. So and C are by default follows the means written in English language. So it accept the only in English language only. So in English language we are having only 0 to 255 symbols. But if we talk about the Java, so Java supports the 16 plus international language. So 1 byte is not sufficient to handle this data. So that's why we are the character is 2 byte in Java.
Okay, so as we know that in Java we have to write a public static void main. So can we overload a main method?
Yes, we can overload the main method. Actually main method is like a normal method, so we can write a number of arguments with the main, and we can overload the main methods.
Okay, so can we override a static method?
No, we cannot override the static method because static method is not a part of the runtime polymorphism, so we cannot override it.
So like in C++ we have a virtual function. So can we have a virtual function in Java also?
Java does not have a virtual function, but a non-static method we can say that is a virtual function. So whatever non-static methods are available, we can say that it's a virtual function, means virtual methods.
Can we typecast a double value in byte?
Implicitly it is not possible to typecast, but explicitly it is possible to typecast.
What is the difference between assignment and initialization?
Assignment means first variable will be created and after we are assigning, so that is known as the assignment. And initialization means what? At the time of creating of variable, if we are assigning any values, so that is your initialization.
Okay, what is a Unicode system? Like as we know that ASCII, but what is a Unicode?
Unicode means universal code. So actually in C++ we are having a ASCII code, similarly we are having a Unicode. So it indicates that is the hexadecimal format of code, and needs 2 byte of memory, that is character. So it's having a 65535 characters in Unicode system.
What is the use of main method and why we use in Java?
Main method generally we are using to provide the callable environment to the user defined methods and predefined methods.
And if you are talking about a main method, so can we execute a Java program without a main method?
Yes, it is possible to execute any program without main, but till JDK 1.6, from JDK 1.7 onwards, it is compulsory to write the main method, because what was happening in that days, everyone was not following that architecture, like to call the main method and to call every method inside a main. So that's why no flow of the execution of the program. So that's why the main method is compulsory from Java 1.7 onwards. So but before Java 1.7 we can execute that main method.
What is a bytecode?
When Java code is compiled using a Java C, so dot class file is created, and that class file is your Java bytecode. So this Java bytecode is responsible to run on any other system. Means we can do the copy paste of that bytecode and we can run on any other system.
So as we know that loops, there are three types of loops in C++. We have already read about that. So in Java, is it three types of loops we use in Java also, or there is extra loops have included in Java?
In Java, we are having 4 types of loops. So for loop, while loop, do while, and another one is that is for each loop. So by using in C++, we already studied about the for loop, while loop, and do while loop. But for each loop is generally used with the arrays to iterate over the arrays. We are using the for each loop.
So Ashish, how many types of access modifiers in Java?
In Java, we are having 4 types of access modifier: public, private, and protected. And last one is that is default. So if we talk about the public, mean it provides the accessibility to the outside of class. If we talk about the private, so it won't allow you to use the outside of class. And if we talk about the protected, so it will be executed till first level of inheritance, means single level inheritance. Because if any data is declared inside a class as a protected, so it will be accessible till the child class only, because when it will be in the child class, so it will be as a private in the child class, and of course private method will not be accessible to its other child class. So it is having access to the single level of inheritance only. And if we talk about the default method, so if we are not mentioning any keyword like public, void, show, like public, private, so we are not mentioning any keyword, so that is your default method, and default method is accessible only the package level.
And is it possible to declare an array as a final in Java?
Yes, it is possible to declare array as a final in Java.
And if you are talking about an array, so what is a jagged array?
When we use jagged array in Java, so row size is necessary to we have to assign, or but column size is not compulsory. So that is your jagged array. Means when we create any array, so we have to pass the row size, and column size will be the vary, and it will be the empty. So some rows is having like 3 columns, some rows is having 2 columns. So like this, that is known as jagged array, and jagged array is known as array within array.
Hello guys. So almost we have covered all basic questions from a Java. Still, if you have any doubt, any questions, so you can ask your question in comment box. We will definitely reply you.